What happens when a small activist group from Australia pressures global giants like Steam and MasterCard to ban thousands of video games, then calls their own critics real-life abusers? Today, we'll unpack a new interview where Collective Shout admits that a game's legality doesn't matter to them and how this situation is turning into FBI investigations, raising alarms about free speech, and affecting thousands of independent game developers and players. Collective Shout is an Australian group that claims to be grassroots. They describe themselves as a movement focused on combating the objectification of women and sexualization of girls in media, advertising, and popular culture. In their latest interview, Collective Shout campaign's manager, Caitlin Roper, emphasized that they are not focused on a game's legality, but rather documented evidence of harm. But some question their claim to be a grassroots group because several of their members have backgrounds in Australia's government, including finance and director roles. While the group denies receiving direct government funding, the background of its members have caused some to be suspicious about a group that has this much power to pressure companies like Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal to listen to them. After successfully getting thousands of games removed, they decided to celebrate on social media, claiming that it was such a big victory. This, of course, led to even more backlash against the group. A UN special rapporteur took notice, calling it the most serious form of violence against women human rights defenders I have seen in a long time, saying it's all because Collective Shout is doing its job in calling out misogyny and violence against females online. Now, you might wonder how Collective Shout has connections to the United Nations for them to respond. Funny enough, they left a video public showing the founder of Collective Shout and a member of the United Nations talking at a summit 1 year ago in 2024. This summit wasn't just any summit, it was at the NCOSE 2024 summit. NCOSE is a major US-based anti-pornography and anti-sexual exploitation organization. This connection shows the international network Collective Shout is a part of. This same group has also been cheering Collective Shout on and has been calling for Steam to ban adult games since 2017. A few days after this, Collective Shout shared a statement that called for government responses, including international cooperation between law enforcement agencies. But less than a week later, the same Collective Shout manager shared a picture of a submitted report to the FBI after saying they are reporting all deepfake porn that is sent to them. We also saw that devs who were making adult games on Steam got their PayPal account frozen, with one dev losing access to £80,000, and it will all potentially just be stolen if PayPal doesn't give their money back. This isn't an isolated incident though, as it is very common with PayPal, so make sure you don't rely on these financial companies, which commonly deplatform people. Talking about relying on these financial companies, Steam has also started complying with UK's Online Safety Act by adding a mandatory age verification system for users who want to access mature content. This requires UK users to have a credit card on file to verify they are over 18, or they won't be able to look at adult games. In a recent new blog post, Collective Shout seems to call on big tech companies for end-to-end encryption over the reason that it could harm children. Meanwhile, the free speech advocate from Japan, Zenko, said that it has become clearer than ever that the rationale for this censorship is sloppy in regards to Steam and itch.io. Even in Japan, many people are concerned about this issue, but information is limited. This leads us to August 30th, when Collective Shout manager Caitlin Roper did a new interview. The Tweaktown interview with Caitlin Roper exposed a major hypocrisy in Collective Shout's campaign. When asked if they would also advocate for the removal of games depicting illegal acts like murder, she deflected the question. Roper stated that Collective Shout only focuses on the sexual objectification and exploitation of women and girls. She then said, "Legality is not the defining factor, it is about documented evidence of harm. We object to content regardless of legal or illegal status." This reveals that Collective Shout isn't concerned with whether a game is illegal, but whether it aligns with their own moral views. I mean, it was pretty obvious with their actions, but now they are just blatantly admitting it, which should be pretty concerning seeing as these games were found to be legal. But that's not it. In the interview, Roper shows hypocrisy against women who create or consume this type of content, even though it has been found to be a popular fantasy for many. When asked about removing a woman's freedom of choice, she dismisses the choices of female creators and consumers by saying, "Media that glorifies sexual violence against women harms all women, regardless of whether a few women take part in its creation or consumption," completely undermining the large number of women who actually enjoy this type of media. She also ignores the idea that women can consent to this type of content being a fantasy, saying she didn't come across anything that was intended as consensual violence in the games. So this group, which is meant to advocate for women, actually doesn't care about what other women think and whether they are against them or not, which we have already seen with multiple female creators speaking out against Collective Shout, but now they are just admitting it. In her response to critics, Roper framed the backlash as proof that her opponents are real-life abusers. She claimed, "It is clear many of the men defending their rape games perpetrate crimes of violence against women because they are doing it to us right now." She then dismissed the idea that this is a censorship issue, saying, "Nobody has a human right to simulate and enact fantasies of rape and extreme violence against women." The interviewer asked why sexual content is targeted more than violence, like in games where players massacre people. Roper said, "She's not sure I agree that violent content is sold without issue," and noted a connection to real-world violence. For decades, activists have tried to blame violent video games for real-world aggression, but this argument has been disproven by a ton of research. Major organizations like the American Psychological Association have stated there is no scientific basis to connect violent video games to criminal violence. In fact, a 2020 version to their official resolution says that attributing acts of violence to video games is not scientifically sound. More importantly, these studies do not show a connection to criminal violence. This is because real-world violence is a complex problem that you can't just blame one thing for. Blaming a video game is a simple answer to a very complicated issue. The theory that playing a violent game makes you a violent person has been around since the 1999 Columbine shooting, and I'm sure there was some instances even earlier. Since then, numerous studies have failed to find a link showing that this fear-mongering is often based on emotion, not facts. Roper also showed no concern for the thousands of dollars in damages to developers, instead blaming the platforms by saying if Steam and itch.io had been moderating their platform as they should have, there would have been no need to temporarily delist games. In the final part of the interview, Roper also discussed the backlash Collective Shout received, framing it as evidence of real-world abuse. She confirmed that the organization has been documenting criminal threats and the creation and spreading of image-based abuse, aka revenge porn, and has reported this to law enforcement, including the FBI. Roper also noted that the harassment has been condemned by the UN Special Rapporteur on violence against women and girls, and that they have sought legal advice. So, the Collective Shout interview reveals their core strategy: just dismiss all criticism as abuse. Their campaign is just full of hypocrisy. They defended the controversial film Cuties, which used real child actors in sexualized scenes, but then complained to ban fictional games they claim are harmful. This double standard shows they don't really care about the issues they claim to be fighting for. The entire situation, though, is much more than just video games. It's about who gets to decide what is acceptable, even if it's perfectly legal. Now, with FBI reports and developers' accounts getting frozen, it's clear this situation is far from over. The question isn't what's next, as now it's clear they think violent games cause violence, but how we can stop this from happening again.